20 programmes, thousands of calls.
Families reunited because of your help.
It's our last day and your last chance to find just some of the people who are missing. Good morning, this is Missing Live. We've had an incredible 4 weeks, bringing you heartbreaking searches, reunions and a few downright mysteries.
There are hundreds of thousands of people missing in the UK, but thanks to your calls, over this series we've been able to reunite some of them back with their families. Here's a reminder of just a few of them.
Abigail Davenport.
Lee St Luke.
Paul Hopkins.
Mohammed Koloko.
Chantel Tapper.
Tamara Williams.
Aminola Tail.
Nadia Graham.
Robin Saker.
Rodney Holden.
Mary Dorman.
Tanisha Harvey.
Hazel Bridgman.
And Tamara Clark. Now, we've had intriguing news overnight on the case of Shahira Oza. Now, she's the 51-year-old mum missing from Manchester. Remember, her daughter Zinat was here earlier in the week and she went straight up to follow some of the leads that the police had, and it came in direct result of the programme. One of them was a woman with amnesia who thinks she may actually be Shahira. Sergeant Andy Tunnicliffe, who's leading the investigation, is on the line now. Andy, good morning.
Good morning to you.
So what's this news then about someone actually thinks she may be her?
That's right, yes. We had a woman phone the missing people's line. Her earliest memory is of November when she went missing. And then as a result of the programme, she actually thinks she's Shahira, our missing.
I mean, this is encouraging news if it does turn out to be her, but how long would it be until we find out if it's her or not?
Well, the daughter, Zinat, phoned her on Monday, built up a bit of a rapport, and so we're building some trust at the moment. This woman doesn't want to give us her location, which is understandable. But like I said, they're actually building up between them.
It does look like a lot of the pieces of the puzzle do fit there, and I really, really hope it is her. Well, please make sure you do keep us updated on that, because that will be fantastic news. Thank you, Andy. Thanks for joining us.
Wow, some fantastic results there, and proof that your calls really can reunite people. Terry's here from Missing People Morning.
Hi.
We spoke to Marcus Rigby's mum yesterday. He's been missing for 13 years. We've had a lot of calls, haven't we?
We have. We've had 14 possible sightings, which is obviously really encouraging because it's been quite a long time, so we're really hopeful on that. We've also had some calls on Robbie Smith as well. We've had 10 calls on him, so he's a 57-year-old missing from Wolverhampton.
Just tell us a little bit more about Marcus as well, and what sort of sightings are they and where are they? Because she was particularly interested in Weymouth, wasn't she?
I believe there's a few sightings from all over the place, and obviously police are going to look into each and every one of them, and you know, a few possible sightings that are sounding quite interesting.
And she had very movingly all those presents that she's bought for him over those years as well.
That's right. After such a long period of time, obviously we'd like some news, you know, obviously to know where he is, but mainly that he's safe and well would be ideal. And
just quickly, you mentioned Robbie Smith. We've got taking lots of calls on him as well. Where are they? Because he was originally from Wolverhampton, wasn't he?
That's right. He's originally from Wolverhampton, and again, you know, various sightings, 10 calls on him at the moment. Specifics aren't really known at this stage. We're following up all the information that comes in, and hopefully we will get.
And his girlfriend had been to Blackpool as well, because they used to go there, didn't they?
That's right. I believe they often had holidays there. He was quite fond of that area, so obviously she's put up posters and trying to get information there particularly, but obviously it could be anywhere.
OK, Terry, thanks. More calls needed there.
And if you have any information on that, then please call Missing People on 0500 700 700. Now, growing up as an only child, she always longed for brothers. Then at 73, Joan found she's got not one, not two, but 3 of them. And we've captured the moment they met for the very first time. They'll be joining us here later.
But first, a night out with friends, then a bag of chips for the walk home. That was 12 years ago. His family are still waiting for him to come back. Although the Isle of Wight is popular with holidaymakers, less than 130,000 people live here. The Nettles family moved to the island in 1990 to Gurnard, a small resort a mile west of Cowes. Damien is an extrovert and popular. He settles in quickly.
He's a big silly boy, all arms and legs flailing, life and soul of the party. Always a joker, always made us laugh, always. Silly sense of humour and very sweet-natured.
As a teenager, Damien has lots of interests.
Me and Damien became close friends when we went into high school. We used to play a lot of music together. That was something that we did on a very regular basis. He played the guitar and he sang. He also played the trombone.
November the 2nd, 1996. Damien is on half-term. He arranges to meet up with Christopher and some other friends.
He went out on that evening at about 7:30. My husband gave him a ride and he just waved, "Bye-bye, Mum, I'll see you later." And I said to him, "Be home by 10:30. And he said, "No, Mum, let me stay out a bit longer because I haven't seen my friends." And I said, "OK, no later than 12.
Me, Damien, my brother and a friend of ours, Alan, we're just going to watch some films and have a couple of beers and stuff like that, have a laugh. And I think after a couple of hours we'd been there, me and Damien, we just kind of wanted to have a chat about the music and stuff like that. So we decided to go down to the local shop and have a couple of ciders and walk through town. We went up through Cowes, up towards Northwood Park, at which point the weather was so bad that I had enough. I'd drank what I had to drink, and as Damien was as close to his house as he was for mine, he decided to go off home, and I was going to go off home to my house, and then in the morning we were going to meet up again.
The Nettles live a mile and a half from where the boys say goodbye at 10:30. Christopher goes home. He thinks Damien has done the same. The next morning, he finds out that isn't what happened.
Damien's mum phoned up my house and said, "Oh, can I speak to Damien?" It was like, "Oh, actually, Damien's not here."
Later on Missing Live, Damien is reported missing and police discover that CCTV has recorded him in the town centre on the night he disappears. And we will return to the story of Damien later in the programme, but if you think you know anything about his disappearance, please get in touch with Missing People on 0500 700 700.
Now, remember Andrew Gosden? He's the 14-year-old who ran away from his home in Doncaster last September. That's over 8 months ago. There have been lots of potential sightings of Andrew since the day he left. Now, his family are waiting for him to come home, and his mum Glenys will be joining us here a little later.
53-year-old father for Raymond Scott. He's been missing from Stanmore in Middlesex since November 2001. Ray had been doing some plastering work at his brother's house but never arrived back the next day. He's 5'7", of medium build with hazel-coloured eyes. He wears glasses and has Ray tattooed on his left hand. If you have any idea of where Ray may be, please contact Missing People, and that number is on your screen right now.
He's the eldest of 5 brothers and sisters. They know he sleeps rough, but when they don't hear from him for over a week, they know something's seriously wrong. How do you find a man with no job and no fixed address? Humberside police have been investigating the disappearance of a street sleeper from Hull for over 15 months. 33-year-old Andrew Bunby has not been seen since he turned up at a health centre in January last year.
I'm part of a team that's investigating the disappearance of Andrew Bunby. I believe that he was seen here towards the end of January 2007. What information do you have about him being seen here?
He last was seen on Friday the 26th of January and he presented heavily intoxicated.
How did he seem this afternoon?
He seemed very upset, very weepy, very tearful. It was a case of making sure Andrew was safe, looked after, make sure he's basically comfortable, and send him off and give another appointment at a later stage for the Monday morning, which he failed to attend.
It's not known why Andrew was distressed that day, but no one sees him again after he leaves the medical centre.
It's a good sighting. It's someone that knows him, that works in the medical profession and is absolutely certain of the date and times it happened. So it is a good point for us to start our inquiries in that we have that sighting and at a definite place and time.
Andrew comes from a large family in Hull.
I mean, there's like me and 5 brothers, including Andrew, and he is the eldest out of us all. He's 34 now, and I'm like 22, so it's quite a big gap, but we was quite close.
After his marriage collapses when he's in his 20s, Andrew starts to develop a drink problem.
There was times, yeah, like most men, they like to go for a pint. And maybe once or twice you'd have one too many pints. And to me, this is how it started on a roller coaster. Only it didn't happen overnight, it took a while.
By 2005, Andrew's losing control of his life.
I had a lot of contact with the brothers and Emma, of course, and they were telling me that Andrew seemed to be drinking more. And they didn't know why he was. They said it's not Andy. He's out there and he's mixing with some of the street people.
Andrew starts sleeping rough around Hull. His family want to help, but they're finding it difficult to contact him.
Like, we'd seen him over Christmas and then January, and it was just, I don't know, it was like, we used to see him at least once a week, twice a week, and for like a week we never saw him.
After hearing nothing for a fortnight, the family report Andrew missing. The investigation into his disappearance has now been going on for 9 months. DC Jason Cooper is heading to a soup kitchen in the centre of Hull that Andrew's known to have used.
Andy was, say for a period of 6 months, was a regular visitor once or twice a week. Typical average guy, and nice man, but obviously he was hurting from whatever reason, things in the past. He was in pain, he was struggling.
Did he frequent with anybody that came to your soup kitchen at all?
You know, he's very pally with a number of the guys, but often they are because they're like a community.
Mm. Do you recall ever having seen him since the 26th of January here?
Not at all, no.
Okay.
Jason Cooper has been making regular visits to areas in the city used by street sleepers.
This is the area that's under Mighton Bridge that we knew that Andrew frequented on quite a regular basis. A few months ago, it was actually quite a popular point where the homeless people would actually camp out, and you would find a number of tents under there, braziers where they were lighting fires to keep themselves warm, even cooking food under there, because to some people it was actually their home.
Andrew's family have now been waiting 15 months for news.
It's hard for everybody, I think. We just hope that one day he'll knock on the door.
I get up in the morning and my first thoughts is, will we have Andrew today? Will he come knocking?
The agony is not knowing. That's the worst bit, not knowing.
Just give us a message that he's fine. That's what counts more than anything. His safety and his well-being.
Joining me now in the studio is Humberside Police Detective Constable Jason Cooper, who we just saw investigating Andrew's case. Thanks for joining us. Now, what we know from Andrew is he's currently no fixed abode.
That's right.
And investigating someone with that status, that must be quite difficult for you. Is that something you've had a lot of in your experience?
No, not in my experience, it isn't. It does throw up the challenges that we wouldn't normally have with someone who has a fixed abode, because we don't have a particularly defined starting point for the inquiry.
No, it must be very difficult. And I understand that there's been a lot of changes, for example, in Hull itself, in the city centre, which may have just moved the homeless people along, you know, with the regeneration. So I guess that's another problem that you've got. That's right. The homeless people in Hull City Centre do tend to frequent the same familiar places. Since Andrew disappeared last year, the geography of the city centre has changed, and that there are now places that they frequent that they didn't a year ago, and conversely, places have since disappeared. How helpful have they been to you, the other homeless people? They've been very helpful to us. They've been quite difficult to track down, which has been a major challenge of the inquiry. And we've used the local PCSOs, the neighbourhood policing team and the city wardens who have a detailed knowledge of the area, and we've had some good results from them. I mean, I think the main thing that we can see there, that yes, he is homeless at the moment, but he's very much loved by his family, and we really hope that he can get back in contact and just let us know that he's safe and well, isn't it? Absolutely, yes. It's very sad that his father passed away, and we would appeal to him to get back to us. Let's hope he does. Well, there's got to be someone out there who knows something about Andrew's disappearance, and if it's you, then please call Missing People. The number's on your screen now.
Now, do you remember Stephen Cooper? He stayed up to watch telly and his partner went to bed. Hours later, she woke up to find both he and his car had gone. There have been calls from all over the country since we first ran the appeal 2 weeks ago. Here's a reminder of what happened.
47-year-old Steve Cooper lives near Huddersfield in Yorkshire with his partner Claire and their children. Steve relies on Claire as he has a painful medical condition and is not able to work. On January the 20th this year, the couple spend a quiet evening in together. But in the early hours of the morning, while Claire was asleep, Steve drives away from home and doesn't come back. The next morning, his family report him missing. The police launch a nationwide search for him and his car. Steve's been gone for 3 days when there's a call from Scotland.
We first came across the vehicle when it was reported abandoned to us round about the 23rd of January. It was members of the Scottish Natural Heritage that work in this area that first reported the car to us.
His Ford Focus is found in the Scottish Highlands. It's 350 miles from his home in Yorkshire, but there's no sign of Steve.
The car was basically just beyond where the police car was. This was the immediate area around here which we conducted the search initially with police dogs. It's very, very thick. Initially we kept quite a small radius around the vehicle looking for any signs of Stephen.
Dozens of volunteers from the Cairngorm Mountain Rescue Team extend the search beyond the forest.
We didn't have a lot of information to go on because in this instance the police didn't really have any idea if the guy was actually going for a walk into the mountains or indeed just out for a drive and had broken down. So there was very little information that we could use to actually start the search.
RAF helicopters are called out. For 2 days, search and rescue teams cover hundreds of miles on foot.
We cleared the mountainside above the forest and then we checked out the base of all the crags, but there was no sign.
Steve's medical condition means he can't walk far. So, on day 3, the emergency services start to search the nearby loch.
We actually took out some kayaks and checked the shoreline of the water to see if there was any sign of him in the water, but there was nothing at all.
On day 4 of the investigation, RAF helicopters bring in sophisticated sonar equipment to search the bottom of the loch. Sensors that can detect a submerged body are lowered into the water. But after 12 hours of painstaking work, nothing is found. It's now a week since Steve disappeared from home. Everyone searching for him is mystified.
I've been doing mountain rescue for 30 years and really in all that time I don't remember not finding someone, but after 3 days we feel we'd exhausted that whole area and we really couldn't come up with any other ideas for where he could be. It was just like the guy had completely disappeared.
No witnesses come forward to report seeing Steve with his car in Scotland. He was last seen by his family 3 months ago when he spent a normal evening at home. No one can understand why he's disappeared.
There's no hints of any problems, any depression or, no problems with his relationship with Claire. He seemed really happy.
It's all out of character because he used to tell me things, and if there anything bothering me, he used to talk to me about it. So we just want some answers. He'll come back one day, I'm sure he will.
I miss him teasing me, telling me how to work the computer. Going for a beer with him on a Sunday afternoon, going across to the club and playing cards. Miss that.
If you have any information at all about Stephen, please do call Missing People on 0500 700 700. And Terry, we have had a few calls, haven't we?
We have, yeah. We've got about 20 calls on Stephen, which is really encouraging. The thing is, with a couple of those sightings, people have actually sighted someone who's 5'4", so we want to remind people that actually Stephen's 6'2".
Right.
So just bear that in mind. And he has got some distinctive tattoos as well.
OK, and also a lot of your work particularly is dealing with unidentified cases, bodies that have been found, trying to identify them. We talked about somebody who'd been found in Kent last week. Has there been an update on that? Yeah, we've had a few calls on him, about 5 calls on him, with a couple of strong possible names of people who did know someone quite well. So we're going to obviously follow those up, and that's hopeful. That was a picture of him. He was found, the body was found, what, under a viaduct? That's right, found in Kent in August 2007, so obviously it's been a little while. But we do have another one as well that we'd like to show, is a man found in Cheshire. He was found in June 2005, and again, we'd like some calls on him. We've got an artist's impression of him here, but he also had distinctive tattoos that and those are the pictures of the tattoos, aren't they? Exactly, yes. This man was around 55 to 65 years old, about 5'9", slim build, brown eyes, and obviously those tattoos, hopefully somebody might recognise them. Yeah, it's important to identify him. Thank you, Terry. If you know anything about any of the cases we've featured on this series, Missing People's number is on your screen. Now, please do call.
And now your help is needed with another real mystery. A man's body was found in April 2006 on a beach on the Isle of Islay in Scotland. He's thought to have been 45 to 60 years old, at about 5'9" tall, and had a tattoo on each forearm. He had a Scottish thistle and scroll and what is thought to be the initials D and F. Now, when he was found, he was wearing a check shirt, green T-shirt and patterned socks. So if you think you recognise him, then please call Missing People on 0500 700 700.
In September last year, Andrew Gosden left Doncaster and travelled to London. You'll remember he was seen on CCTV leaving King's Cross Station. And since we've been on air, that we've had more calls on Andrew than on any other case, and dozens of these potential sightings are in and around London. Well, Andrew's mum, Glenys, is here with us today. Morning. Thanks for coming in. Amazing amount of calls we've had on Andrew, haven't we? And I believe that you're getting now where these sightings, possible sightings, are.
Yes, we received from the police quite an extensive listing on Wednesday evening, and I've been sort of sifting through and looking. I just want to say thank you to the public for being so vigilant and trying so hard on our behalf to help us find our son. The sightings that still mainly interest us are around the central London area. Yeah. We've had 30 to 40 around there. Sort of April, May time. And you've literally got, I mean, this is the list, isn't it, of where they all are. In central London, they appear to be around, what, tube stations, Tube stations, Tottenham Court Road, Oxford Street, areas that we know he liked and was familiar with. OK. Yeah. And also, interestingly as well, because you've been going through them all, sightings there seem to have been in Brighton. We've had a clustering in Brighton, between sort of end of March and early May, which again is possible. It's an hour on the train from London. It's easy to flip back and forth, isn't it? And it must be incredibly frustrating. There you have in your hands possible sightings of your son, and yet you still can't find him. Yes, you feel it's so near and yet so far, you know. So we still need more calls as well, don't we? We do, absolutely. If anybody just thinks that they might have seen him, get on a phone, go straight to somebody in authority or whatever, make that call. Tell us a little bit about him, because he's incredibly intelligent, isn't he? He's a very gifted boy. He's not a typical sort of rising, young teenager. He's very articulate and gentle. He was reading philosophy when he was 13. Clearly, he's been raised in a faith household, and I think he was at his point of considering, you know, life, the universe and everything, and was like reading Nietzsche and variety of things. So he's not a typical teenager that you maybe would spot in an amusement arcade, or that's less likely a place for him to be.
He's sort of more likely to be in a museum,
in the museums
or
cultural places. Yes, yeah, would be more.
If there are people who's seeing him or have seen him, or impact, you know, maybe even spending time with him, what would you say to them?
Oh, I would just encourage them, even if, you know, they ring on the runaway helpline. It's anonymous. Just to know that he's alive and he's safe and is living the life that he's chosen for himself right now would just be such a comfort, as opposed to knowing nothing.
Yeah,
about
I mean, that is the
who
thing, isn't it? Because, you know, he may be, I don't know, he may even be watching this programme with something that he doesn't want to tell you. So it's not that you necessarily want to see, you just want to know he's safe, don't you?
Absolutely, yes, yeah. That if he's watching now, I'd just like to say, Andrew, that we've raised you in a household and you know that you've got a very good moral compass, that you know what's right and what's wrong. And I just want to say to you now, do the right thing. Pick up the phone. You can ring anonymously if you're not ready to make contact with us for whatever reason, but just let us know that you're alive and you're okay.
And you make that point that whatever the reason is, it doesn't matter, does it?
It doesn't matter. There's nothing that we can't sort out or discuss, you know, that you've left without giving us a chance to know that you hadn't even had an issue.
OK. Glenys, thank you very much for your time. I know that he will be 15 in July. Let's hope he's back by then. Thank you. And if you have any information about Andrew's whereabouts, call missing people. But if it's Andrew you're watching, you can call the Runaway Helpline. Their number is on your screen right now for you.
All her life, Joan had wished for one thing, a brother. Now 73, she's found just what she's looking for and more.
In 1935, Joan Willis is adopted. She grows up thinking she's an only child. But now, at the age of 73, she's just found out she's got 3 brothers and a sister. Today, she's about to meet them for the first time.
I'm absolutely overwhelmed. It's fantastic that this has happened, you know. Been wishing for it for years, but never got down to actually finding out about them.
Her daughter-in-law, Lorna, who's an experienced genealogist, thinks it's important for Joan to know her family.
Joan is now 73, and it would soon be too late. If something happened to Mum, she'd lose the chance to meet her natural family, her brothers and her sister, and to actually find out who she is, where she came from. She's very self-sufficient, but she's also fairly quiet and does like to keep to herself. So this was actually quite hard for her.
Oh dear, I'm so nervous.
But having grown up as an only child, she admits she's always wanted brothers.
See, the children at school had brothers and that, and they had such a lovely time. They're all playing together, and pillow fights we used to have and whatever. I thought, oh, if only I had some brothers. I really fancied brothers.
After 73 years of not knowing about a whole different side of her family, they're here.
Hello, lovely to meet you. Hello.
Her sister Maureen and her brothers Bob and George.
Yeah, lovely, yeah.
But for Lorna, the jigsaw isn't complete. Her third brother can't make it here today. For Joan and her brothers and sister, this is just the first step of many.
Keep taking this away. You couldn't pose if your life depended on it. That's more like it.
Oh, what a lovely hug. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Morning, Joan.
Morning.
Now, you're going to do the introductions for me, are you?
Right.
Tell me who everybody is.
This is George, my brother, and John, the eldest brother, and this is Bob.
Morning to you all.
Hello. Have I got the names right?
George, we start with you. What was it like when she phoned you up?
Oh, I couldn't believe it when Lorna rang me up. And over the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Joan, you'd always wanted brothers, didn't you?
I definitely did. Mm.
Did you? I mean, you had no idea that you had these...
None at all. I was, over the world, over the moon. Fantastic.
So tell us about that moment when you first met. I mean, you're practically crying about it now. Go on, tell us.
They were all in tears. And yeah, I'm getting all emotional. We were just overwhelmed at meeting each other. Definitely.
Definitely. I was, anyway.
And did you guys know that you had another sister?
No, I didn't know.
idea at all.
So
After all this time, we didn't even know.
So just tell us a little bit about how you got in contact, Joan. How did you find them?
Well, it was my daughter-in-law, in actual fact, who found out where they about it all. And first of all, she contacted my cousin, my second cousins, and then it went on to the other the brothers. But no, that's how it went on. Lorna did all the work, to be honest.
Right. You all look pretty alike, actually, I have to say.
Good.
Can you see the family likeness?
Oh, yeah. Especially when she's got the glasses on, she's spitting image on my mum.
Mum. I went to bring a photograph. I'm so like her. Absolutely spitting image of her.
Oh, wow. And it must be amazing being able to hear stuff about her as well. What's that like?
Yes, very good. Very fun. There's a lot more to find out, of course. We haven't done all our talking yet. But, yeah, so
we've got plenty of time now.
Yeah,
got plenty of time. I've known each other 3 months.
It's incredible, isn't it? And George, you're spending time together. I know you've got lots to catch up on, but what kind of things are you doing? Are you going out for the day or...?
Well, every week I go down once a week, and we go all over the place, don't we?
Yeah. Nurseries.
Nurseries.
Different places.
So have you got kind of similar interests as well? And you've got a sister as well, haven't you?
Yes, Maureen.
How's that? Another sister?
Fine, yes. I haven't seen much of her, really. Only just a glimpse of her.
Right,
but,
OK. OK, so what do you think the future holds for you? You all got,
we just get on all right, all of us together. Yeah. They're all coming to my house on 29th of June. We've got 25 of us all coming. They'll have a big party.
And you're a bit of a tomboy, I understand, as well,
so
Joan.
they say.
What does it feel like having all those brothers then?
Very good.
Great. Well, listen, thank you very much. You're obviously really happy to be back together.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Yeah,
and thanks as well to all of our viewers as well. All those emails we've received from you with your incredible stories of reunions. Thank you.
Now, after a night out, 2 friends head home, but one never makes it back.
Damien Nettles moves to the Isle of Wight when he's a teenager with his family. 11 years ago, when he's 16, he goes for an evening out in Cowes. That night, he doesn't go home. The next day, his mum reports him missing. Police go through all the footage from CCTV cameras in the town centre. They discover Damien has been recorded on the night he disappeared.
The key sighting of Damien is really at around 25 to midnight on the 2nd, when we have him captured on CCTV footage in the Yorkies Fish Bar. It was a confirmed sighting of Damien. We used an expert in lip reading, trying to assess the information and what was said within the chip shop to see if any lines of inquiry arose from that for us.
A copy of the footage is sent to a lip-reading expert for analysis. The police hope that it'll shed light on what happens next. While waiting for the results, officers try to trace other customers who were in the shop that night.
Some of the people that were in the chip shop were identified, and inquiries are continuing now, and I'm still anxious to identify all of the people that were in the chip shop on that evening. He left there within about sort of 5 minutes or so, and the suggestion from a witness is that he went towards the Gurnard direction. And there's quite a common route used by people who live in the area along the seafront towards Gurnard.
It's less than 2 miles from this part of Cowes and Damien's house. There were 2 routes home, along the seafront or through the town. But which one had he taken?
A lot of people just assume he walked along the seawall and fell in. You know, Damien had a good, healthy respect for the sea. He was a fisherman. It was a windy, wet, rainy, horrible, cold night. And I don't think for a minute that Damien would have walked along the sea route.
A number of intensive searches were conducted after Damien's disappearance. Some of those related to the coastline area around Cowes and the Gurnard area where Damien lived. In addition to that, there are a number of other targeted locations searched, both using fingertip searching techniques and dog units.
But nothing relating to Damien has been found. It's now 12 years since he went missing, and the investigation continues. The CCTV recorded on the night he disappeared is still the strongest piece of evidence in the investigation. For Damien's family, the passing of time has done little to ease the pain.
If you have any information about Damien's disappearance, then please call Missing People now. The number's 0500 700 700. And we're joined by Paul Toohey from Missing People and DAC Richard Bryan of the Association of Chief Police Officers, or ACPO. Morning to you both. Thanks for coming back. Now, we've seen that the police and the charity are working together on the Missing People. So how does that work, and how can viewers help?
I think the viewers can help in a number of ways. I mean, obviously, this is, you know, unfortunately for us, this is the last day of the programme, which has had a huge impact over the last month on finding people. 17 people found just through the programme alone, and so much more work still to be done. But when the programme finishes, we want viewers to really look out for those posters and appeals that we put out, because we're doing this work all the time. We're doing it 365 days of the year, and we survive on having the public give us information. And they've been magnificent during this time, but we want them to keep on doing it. Second thing we want them to do is, if they really want to support the charity, make a donation, because we are a charity and we rely on the public for support to keep the show on the road.
And Richard, from a police point of view, what would you encourage the viewers to do if they think they can help in any way?
And just echo Paul's story, really. It's about keeping in touch. When you see the posters, make contact, and you can obviously contact the missing persons people or contact the local police.
And I think that's an interesting point, because before I started doing this, I was a police officer myself, and if we were dealing with a case, someone might phone in from Merseyside or from Scotland or somewhere. You can all talk to each other, can't you? If someone's reported missing, it's nationwide.
Yeah, we talk to each other. We've got a national bureau which pulls together sightings from all the way across the country, and you never know where a sighting in one part of the country will link up with a report of somebody gone missing from somewhere else. So, however unlikely it seems, when you see somebody who you think you may have seen on a poster, let us know, because that might be the sighting that provides a breakthrough. And that's what this programme has demonstrated.
Absolutely. It does seem like London's a bit of a magnet, though, doesn't it, for some of these missing people? A lot of people find themselves drawn to the capital. Do you find?
I think that's always been the case, and I mean, I think there's stories we've seen today of people arriving at tube stations and so on, people hanging around Oxford Street, those kind of areas of central London. There's an inevitability to that, and the Met puts a significant amount of resources into working with missing people and supporting.
I mean, it does unfortunately seem to be, I mean, it's a big area, but it seems to be an underfunded area. What can we do to help there? I think you touched on it with saying that people could make a donation, but is there anything else that we can do?
Well, we've been working very closely, Paul and I, for some years, and working with missing people. And supporting missing people is absolutely critical in this. The police cannot do it alone. There are people out there who will talk to Paul's people. They won't necessarily talk to us. So it's about building the relationship. It's about us working together effectively. And I think that's needs to be the story for the future.
Let's hope they do.
If I can also just add to that, I think what's also critically important is that you know, missing is a massive social issue, which I think is almost invisible sometimes because it's so widespread. And we're working very, very closely with government now. And we really hope that this programme is going to make government think a bit more about supporting the charity, especially when times are difficult, when funds get diverted. We do need government to help us.
Well, let's hope they do. Well, thank you both very much, and best of luck with the future. Thank you.
We know that your calls have helped and find nearly 20 people over the past 4 weeks. That is an incredible achievement, but please don't let it end here.
Thousands of people are still missing, and it could be your call that brings one of them home.
The families of these people still need answers.
Up this way now, follow me on!
Hosanna in the highest.
Sure you recognise some of those faces, but there are many more that still need your help.
Yes, among them are Madeleine McCann. She went missing in Portugal a year ago this month. This week, Interpol has been investigating reports of a potential sighting of her with a man on a flight to Sao Paulo in Brazil. Not the first time she's apparently been spotted in that country.
Damien Nettles has been missing from the Isle of Wight for 12 years. He'd promised his mum he'd be home by midnight, but never showed up. The last confirmed sighting of him was on CCTV at the local fish and chip shop.
23-year-old Stephen Cook, he disappeared while on holiday in Crete in August 2005. He was last seen on the Malia Strip asking for directions back to his hotel.
Craig Hetherington disappeared after a night out in Middlesbrough 5 years ago. Nothing had been seen or heard of him since. He's now 28 and his family would love to hear from him. Please let missing people know if you can help with any information on the cases you've seen today. The number's on your screen right now.
It's almost all we have for you. Hundreds and hundreds of you from all over the UK and beyond as well have called in with information.
We'll be back, you'll be pleased to hear, next spring with another series. But the work of missing people and the police never stops. So please, keep calling.
Yes, those calls count. Thank you so much for all of your help. It's been an amazing 4 weeks. We will see you next year. For today, goodbye.
Bye-bye.